Today we're going to be recapping Champions League and Europa League. We're also going to be reviewing today spicy Chinese lays. This is going to be a fun one. I'm not even sure what flavor it is, but this looks extremely spicy. Stay tuned, you're not going to want to miss this episode of the Football Foodie. Let's get right into it. So what happened in Champions League? One of the most anticipated games, Real Madrid versus Man City. It was not close. Man City, they had a poor performance against Real Madrid and they ended up walking away with a 2-1 win. Manchester didn't do themselves any favor with Bernardo Silva getting a red card early on in the game. That just basically put it away for Real Madrid. Real Madrid was able to easily advance to the next round with a 2-1 win. It was a perfect series for Real Madrid. They proved their doubters wrong. They disposed of one of the best teams in England and Man City. They walked away from this looking like serious contenders. The only downside for Real Madrid was unfortunately Courtois suffered an injury. He won't be available for the next round of Champions League. Speaking of the next round of Champions League, Real Madrid will be facing Bayern Munich. Like I said in the last video, Bayern Munich, they ended up thumping Atlanta 6-1. This game didn't fare too well for Atlanta as well. Bayern kind of went easy on them. Bayern Munich was able to walk away with a 4-1 win against Atlanta. There was actually some concerns about goalkeeping. Bayern Munich was at one point considering under 16 goalie Prescott, the New York native, but fortunately for Bayern Munich, Urbig was healthy. He's not Neuer, but hey, they'd rather put him in net instead of an under 16 kid. Bayern Munich, with the backups of the backups, was able to beat Atlanta 4-1. Literally, they had the perfect series. They ended up winning on aggregates 10-2. That's pretty Bayern-like. Bayern is one of those teams that if you get caught sleeping for a few minutes, they'll just pounce on the goals on you. Bayern Munich made an example of Atlanta in these two legs. I thought Atlanta would put up a better fight, but Bayern Munich is seriously looking like a real contender in Champions League going forward. It's going to be very interesting to see how they do against Real Madrid. I think that the winner of this one could probably win Champions League. These two teams are always contenders to win it all. I personally think Bayern Munich is overdue for a Champions League, so we'll see how Bayern Munich Real Madrid plays, but that's definitely going to be an interesting matchup in the quarterfinals. Now let's talk about another lopsided score. PSG. PSG was able to show why they won Champions League last year. They did easy work of Chelsea, beating them on aggregates 8-2. PSG was easily able to beat Chelsea 3-0 away. Kind of disappointing for Chelsea, to be honest. I thought Chelsea was going to put up a better fight throughout these two legs, but it's not looking good. Chelsea, for a team who won the Club World Cup, they definitely should have done better in the Champions League. I don't know what's going on with Chelsea, but I think the issue might be management. PSG, they're showing why they're contenders to win it again this year and why they were the defending champions. PSG looks like they're going to be playing Liverpool in their next leg. Liverpool, playing at home, did easy work of Galatasaray, winning 4-0. I thought, unfortunately, Galatasaray was going to be able to put up a better fight, but hey, credits due where credits due. Mo Salah, he missed a penalty shot but was able to redeem himself. All of Liverpool, they played a great team effort. They were able to walk away with a 4-0 win at Anfield, showing why Anfield is probably one of the toughest places to play. Galatasaray, their Cinderella run looks to be over. They have Osimhen, they have Tuheda, they have Gabriel Serra. They have a couple of high-profile players. I could see Gabriel Serra actually being sold the next upcoming transfer window. So it looks like Galatasaray's year to maybe go far in Champions League was this year, but unfortunately didn't pan out for Galatasaray. We'll see how they come back next year, or if they even do come back next year in Champions League. Liverpool versus PSG is going to be a great matchup, but I would still put my money on PSG. Liverpool, they seem to struggle away at Galatasaray, and they got away with it, but I don't think they're going to be able to have the same luck against PSG. PSG is the defending champions. They're a great overall rounded up team. I think this is going to be a tight series. I think Liverpool, if they're down a goal at any point this series, they're going to struggle. I would put my money on PSG, and I just believe that PSG can definitely advance to the semifinals of Champions League easily, and I think that Liverpool, this is the peak of their season. They're not going to go any farther than this, unfortunately. Now let's talk about the other British team in play. Arsenal was able to convincingly beat Leverkusen at home with a golazo from Messi. One of the hottest goals I've seen of the year. Arsenal, they look like they're in form. They're in contention to win a couple of things this year. They're still in the FA Cup. They're still in the Carabao Cup. They're still in the Champions League. And as of right now, they are slated to win the EPL if they secure 9 points. So let's see how Arsenal does in Champions League. It looks like they're going to be able to dodge a bullet and not playing Bodo. That's my cue to try these Chinese legs. So you know the rules of this game. I'm going to be reviewing these chips. I'm going to give you the review at the end of the video. This thing opens. It smells pretty Asian, not going to lie. I don't know what these checkers mean in the background, but what I do for these videos, guys, I do it for you. So I'm going to take a sniff of this. Definitely wakes you up. Probably at the same level of a very low grade smelling salt. Let's check it out. Let's give it a little taste. A little nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Lays, you let me down. This tastes good, but it's not spicy at all. Tastes really Szechuan-like, but definitely not spicy. Like, this is false advertising. Not spicy. I'll probably just be eating these throughout the whole review and yeah, enjoying them. I'm not gonna trim colors this one. Definitely won't. A little disappointed. I thought these symbolized something really spicy, but I'm gonna be honest with you, they kind of look like pepperoni sticks now that I'm looking at it. No, never mind. They're little peppers. Pringles, you're spicier than this. Shout out to Pringles Hot Ones. So back to soccer. Sporting was able to convincingly beat Bodo at home. Bodo, their miracle run is over, unfortunately. As I stated earlier, Bodo was one of my teams that I thought was going to win Champions League. I'm shocked to actually see them go out the way they did. Sporting at home had a convincing 5-0 win in extra time. They were able to score 3 goals in regular time, bringing it to extra time, and then they just finished them off. Luis Suarez with a crucial penalty shot to level up the aggregates, put Sporting in the driver's seat, and Sporting just seemed dominant the whole entire time. Could Bodo's success have just been from the Norwegian weather? I don't know. I think Bodo, they played really good as a team up until they went to Lisbon to play Sporting, but it's making me wonder if home field advantage is maybe Bodo's secret weapon. Sporting, they have a tough task ahead of him, but it wouldn't be the first time that Sporting has beat Arsenal, actually. The last time Sporting and Arsenal played each other was in Europa League, and Sporting was able to actually win in penalty shootouts 5-3. That was a tough series. Sporting ended up just winning by the skin of their teeth. We're gonna see what happens. Is Gyökeres going to get revenge over his old team? Is Sporting going to pull off another win against Arsenal, who has a really busy schedule? I'm not sure, but I have a funny feeling. If there's going to be an upset, I think Sporting could pull it off. I was wrong before, but I really think a busy schedule for Arsenal is working against them. I think that Arsenal is not going to have an easy time that people are going to think they're going to have. And I think this is going to be a really close couple of games. We'll see who ends up winning. But for now, Vegas will tell you the odds favorites is Arsenal. And now let's talk about the last matchup of the quarterfinals. It's going to be a Spanish derby, Atletico versus Barca. Let's talk about their last 2 games. Newcastle, unfortunately, thanks for coming out, but it's never a good time for a British manager at Camp Nou. Didn't seem to fare well for Howe. The Newcastle United manager is one of 2 managers that have really got plummeted recently by Barcelona and Camp Nou. The other one being Gary Neville, when he was Villarreal's manager. Basically the same result for Newcastle United. You're not going to win series letting in 7 goals. Barcelona, they looked really comfortable going into the next round. It's going to be a really good matchup to see how Barcelona does against Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid, they actually lost their second leg. Like I predicted, Tottenham would put up a better fight. I actually thought they would tie, but unfortunately, if Tottenham just didn't let in 2 goals, we could be talking about a crazy comeback and a crazy momentum seeker for Igor Tudor, but they still walk away with the win, but unfortunately, they don't advance to the next round. They only won 3-2. They had to have won 3-0. Atletico Madrid, they seem to be able to have a tough task ahead of them, playing a really hot Barca team. I think if there's a team that could beat Barcelona, it's going to be Atletico Madrid. They always play each other in La Liga. They have some knowledge and background against each other. It's going to be a really interesting series, and I think that it's going to be closer than people think. I know that this Atletico Madrid team isn't necessarily the best in form, but Barcelona, they're prone to these weird losses in Champions League. We'll see if Atletico could pull this off. Let's talk about the last game from Wednesday. Well, technically the first game of Europa League. Braga versus Ferencváros. I'm still probably butchering that name. The Hungarians went into Portugal with a nice 2-0 lead, but unfortunately, they walked away with a 4-0 loss and got eliminated from Europa League. They were the first team eliminated on Wednesday in the very early 11:30 a.m. Wednesday game of Europa League. Like, if you're in North America, I'm sorry, who's watching that game? You're going to want to watch, number 1, Champions League on a Wednesday. Number 2, 11:30 a.m. People have work. Like, I was unfortunately only able to see the highlights, but Braga looks like maybe they can make another Cinderella Europa League run. They look to be in some good form. Let's talk about the other Portuguese team in Europa League. Porto. They were playing Stuttgart at home, and FC Porto had a nice convincing 2-0 win against Stuttgart. The game was always pretty dominated by Porto. Frioli played his Europa League lineup starting Rodrigo Mora, the Portuguese wonder kid. The only disappointment I had about this game is Rodrigo Mora was subbed off at halftime. He looked really good in the first half, but Frioli, we can't question his genius. He put in Victor Froholt, and Froholt actually got a goal, so it ended up working. Porto walked away with a convincing win against Stuttgart. Porto looks good. Can we see another Porto Braga Europa League finals? I mean, why not? Talk about the other games in Europa League. By the way, these chips are not European tasting. Roma versus Bologna. This one shocked me. This one went into extra time, and Bologna, they walked away with a 4-3 win in Roma. Really tough feat to do. Really sad to see Roma out of the Europa League competition. I thought they would go farther. Looks like Roma's time is up. Roma was one of my favorites at the beginning to win all of Europa League, but Bologna, they just wanted it more. Bologna, kudos to them, scoring in extra time and winning away at Roma. They look like a serious contender in Europa League, so we'll see what Bologna ends up doing. I did not think Bologna was going to beat Roma. This is a pretty big upset. Another interesting game in Europa League was Nottingham Forest versus Midland. I thought Midland was going to just draw 0-0, but no. Nottingham Forest, good on them. They took it to penalty shots and they won 3-0 in a penalty shootout. Nottingham Forest ended up winning the game 2-1. Nottingham Forest looks like they're still in it. They're on to the next round. We'll see how far they go. Another shocker for me was Celta Vigo versus Lyon. I thought Lyon was going to advance to the next round, but no, good on Celta Vigo. They went into France and they ended up walking away with a 2-0 win. Fortunately, Endrick couldn't do anything about this. Celta Vigo looks like they're on to the next round of Europa League. We'll see how far they could go. I wouldn't put my money on them going any farther than the next round, but now let's talk about the other Spanish team. Real Betis, they were at home and Real Betis was able to win 4-1 against Panathinaikos. And this one kind of shocked me. I thought Panathinaikos was going to put up a better fight, but Real Betis, they seem to be clicking on all the right cylinders right now. We'll see how they do against Sporting Braga. I think Real Betis versus Sporting Braga is going to be an interesting matchup. Real Betis looks like they have their work cut out for them. Sporting Braga is not Panathinaikos. That's going to be a good series as well. Speaking of the other Portuguese team, the one that I still think is contenders, Porto versus Nottingham Forest. Porto suffered a defeat during the group stage to Nottingham Forest, but I believe this Porto team is clicking on all the right cylinders right now. And Nottingham, they're not doing really good in England. I'd put my money on Porto. Not biased because I'm a fan, but Porto just looks really good. The other British team in play was Aston Villa against Lille. Aston Villa, they were able to convincingly win 2-0. Aston Villa, both of these legs, they just look dominant. Their next opponents is going to be Bologna. Can the dream continue for Bologna? I don't know. Aston Villa looks really good. We'll see how Aston Villa does against Bologna. Now, the game that last week that nobody cared about was Freiburg versus Genk. And you know how this one turned out? This was actually a really interesting game. Freiburg at home was able to win 5-1. Yes, I know I said last week that this was a game that nobody cared, and frankly, I didn't even watch, but good on Freiburg. They scored 5 goals at home, convincing win over Genk, and they're off to play Celta Vigo in the next round. We'll see how they do against Celta Vigo. We'll see what happens in the next round of Europa League, but the matchups look really interesting. I'm looking forward to all of them. I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys, just like I am about these non-spicy Chinese chips. I still think Porto is my favorites to win the whole tournament. Now that Roma's gone, I'm going to be straight up honest with you like I am about these not spicy Chinese chips. I'm definitely going to be watching the Porto series, but I think that Europa League is definitely heating up and the next series should be good to watch. Alright, so you know the rules. It's review time, guys. Talk about these Lay's not spicy Chinese chips. False advertisement, by the way. How dare you make something that is false advertisement? You like get my excitement and hopes up, and it's not as spicy as I thought. I swear I didn't get these chips on Temu, by the way. What would I rate these? It tastes different. I said earlier on it had a good Szechuan taste. It did taste good for like the first couple of bites, but I kind of get sick of it. It's like, why am I still eating these? My tongue is turning a little numb. It's that weird numbness spice going on, but it's not spicy. I don't know if that makes any sense, but if you ever had Chinese food like tom yum soup, sweet and sour, you know what I'm talking about. It's that little unique spice. You're better off eating a fruit roll-up and getting a numb tongue at that point. What do I rate these interesting Chinese chips? 6 out of 10. Save the calories, save the hype. China, you make great food, but just not good Lays. Thank you for watching another episode of the Football Foodie. Soccer is getting really interesting. Next week, we're going to have some prediction videos. I'm going to predict who goes forward on my next one, and we're also going to be reviewing some spicy food from Korea. So stay tuned for some more spicy content on the Football Foodie. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope you enjoy the content, and leave a comment down below. Have a good one, guys.